practice, what's going to be helpful for us today is going to be to have at least one block or a thicker book to be on, and then a strap for at least the beginning of class, but it could be a belt or a tie or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily need to be a yoga strap. And then for the end of practice, if you want to have your blanket or you want to have your bolster or anything to finish off your practice for Shavasana or anything else that we're working through, feel free to bring those into your space as well. So this is going to be a bit of a slower flow today, big focus on the hips and just kind of being with that as we move through class. So let's come to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for us. And as we take our seat, shifting a little bit side to side and front to back to find that space where we feel a little bit more centered. And then once we find that space, making sure that we're sitting up nice and tall. Really going to want to focus on connecting to the breath today as we move through kind of the hip glute complex. We're going to work some on stretching and some on strengthening. And especially as we work on those strengthening parts of the practice, really dive deep into our breath. It's going to help us out there because booties can tend to be weak for a lot of us. I know I'm sitting a lot more on my couch than I normally do. That's going to weaken it even further. So if our routines have changed, then our practice and our bodies might have changed as we move through it today. So just be really mindful of that. It'll be, again, nice slow movement so we can really feel our effort as we move through practice. But closing our eyes or focusing our gaze here. And allowing ourselves to connect to that breath. So breathing in through the nose, belly expanding. Breathing out from the nose, letting the belly draw back and in. As you breathe in and out, letting the thighs and the knees relax and soften. Letting the shoulders gently drift away from the ears. Letting yourself feel and be present in your body. It might be a new body for us that we're encountering for the past few weeks. So being mindful of this body as we move through today. You can draw your hands to heart center or one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Still working and feeling your connection to the breath. Take a moment here setting an intention or dedication for your practice if you wish. And then we'll work through a cleansing breath here together. Deep breath in. Let it go through the mouth. And then opening up the eyes, lifting the gaze here. We're going to get started on our backs. Make sure as you go back onto your back, you have your block or book around you and your strap. If it gives you any problems as we work through these first few exercises, feel free to do this without anything underneath your back. You can do it on just your mat as well. And hey, Marley, thanks for coming in. Since you joined a little bit later, just know you're muted right now, but if you ever need to unmute yourself to ask a question, feel free to do that anytime that you need to. So let's get started on our backs. As we come to our backs, we'll bend our knees, bring the soles of our feet to the mat, and elevate our hips so that we can slide our block underneath our sacrum. So find that spot above the tailbone beneath the lower back. And then from here, we're going to draw our right knee in towards our chest. As you hug it in, interlace your fingers around your right knee or right shin, and you can come outside the right rib cage if you've got a little bit more space. We'll take the left leg away from the mat, flex the toes up towards the ceiling, and really try to straighten the leg as much as you can. So you're going to engage the quadriceps, and then you'll start to lower your left heel towards the floor. Really try to engage your left heel down into the mat and stretch it away from you. And as you do that, we should start to feel more intensity through the front of the left hip. It's going to be even more exaggerated if we're up on our block or on our book. So as we work here for a few breaths, again, letting the sacrum relax down to our crotch, engaging as strongly as we can into our right leg, and our right knee feels okay with it, and really driving our left leg not only down into the mat, but as long as we can take it. Take another breath in, letting that go. From here, we'll grab our strap and we'll take either our loop or just each end in each hand and wrap it around the ball of our foot. Drawing the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling for more of a half baby-like shape. We'll start to draw the right knee and right thigh out to the right a little bit more. Move your left foot over to the left. You're still having it as straight as you can, but we're really working it long and then off to the left more so that our legs are a little bit more of a diagonal here. Still straightening the left leg as much as we can. This time driving the right thigh out to the side and closer to our mat, however much space we have here. Start to feel out that outer right hip and the front of the left thigh and the part of the hip that lives there. And then from here, start to move your left leg back more towards the midline, straightening your right leg up towards the ceiling. You can flex the toes towards your face. If you need to shake it out or move it out a little bit here, you can. Take your right hand like a little V for victory and wrap your right thumb into your right hip crease. Your pointer finger is going to wrap around. Start to pull your right leg over towards the left. And as you do so, you're going to wrap that V around. So it's going to be as if you're pulling the skin underneath your thumb towards the outside of your right hip. And you're going to rotate the back of your right thigh around to the left. So your toes or the top of your right foot are going to start to look more towards the right. As you do that, you're going to pull your right leg more towards the left. This should start to feel very much more intense through the outside of the back of your right leg. And the more you wrap around, the fingers pulling the right thigh with you, the more intensity you're going to feel here. Also more intensity, flex foot versus pointed foot. So you can test that out. Point your feet or flex your feet and see how that changes what you feel through the hamstring on the back of the right leg. Take one more breath in. Let it go. Bend your left knee. Draw the sole of the left foot to the mat. As you do that, bend your right knee enough so that you can take the strap out of the way. Crisscross your right ankle on your left thigh. You can hold onto the block or book here and then start to hug your knees in towards your chest. We're going to use this left leg and the engagement of our left hip flexor to drive ourselves deeper into this figure four. You might find different space being elevated on the block or book than you do when you just bind it with your hands, being with the back flat on the mat. Now, if your block will stay or your book will stay on your mat, you can release your hands and you can still work into your binds here like we would for a traditional reclining figure four if you want to. The left leg can be straight up, the left knee can be bent here, but if you're really wanting to connect again to deep core hip flexor strength, try to drive not by a bind with the hands, but by an engagement through the front of the left thigh and left hip that we stretched out earlier. Feet can be pointed or flexed, and they can be doing different things depending on what we need for our right knee and our left knee here. If you want to move a little bit, you can. See what happens if you shift a little bit right and left, or even shift the whole booty right and left, and see kind of what it and how it feels different through the outside of that right hip. Take one more breath in. Let that go. Slowly releasing your left leg, left foot back down to the mat. Take that right leg, shake it out a little bit if you need to, and then we're going to move into the left side for this. So sole the right foot to the mat at first. We'll hug our left knee in towards our chest. Interlace the hands around the left knee or left shin. You can go opposite pinky on top. Draw your right leg away from the mat. Straighten it as much as you can. Flex the toes towards your face. Keep all of that as you try to elongate it out and drive the right heel down into the mat. As we're doing that, if you've let up the grip around your left shin, left knee, try to hug that back and in even more. Right now, working the front of the left hip. And we're working a little bit more neutrally with the hips. So we still have the right leg in line with the right hip versus being taken so far out to the right. From here, we're going to grab our strap, and this is where we're going to open up our shape a little bit more. Put that loop or edge around the ball of the foot. Draw the sole of the left foot up towards the ceiling. The left knee is going to move off to the left, half baby-like shape, and you'll pull the left thigh down the more space you have. Right leg is going to move more towards the right. So not only do we feel it on the top of our right hip, but we might also feel it a little bit more on the outside. The block gives people some more space, especially those if you're really mobile in your hip, to have more room to sneak past your left shoulder. Again, you can point and flex your feet as needed for the comfort of your legs and your knees, and then try to straighten that right leg again. Try to drive it away from you. Be with what you're feeling here. Take another breath in. Let that go. Move the right leg back more in towards the midline. We'll take the left leg up towards the ceiling. You'll move the strap into the right hand or both sides of the strap. Take our little V, wrap the thumb around the front of the hip crease, and start to pull your left leg over towards the right. And then as you do that, try to wrap your pointer finger around more towards your booty while holding on to the skin of your left thigh and left hip. So it's going with us, and we're going to feel our left hip move further away from our left shoulder. If you point your toes, you might feel it more through the top of the left foot and through the left shin, left calf. If you flex your toes, probably again going to feel it more on the outseam of the back of the left leg. So feel free to play with either option depending on what you need to feel here right now. Take one more breath, maybe drawing the left foot a little bit closer towards your face as you wrap your fingers around. And then coming back through the midline with the left leg, bending the knee enough to move the strap. Right knee bends, coming into our figure four. And then from here, you're going to start to draw your knees in towards your chest. Feel free to bind the block or bind your legs. See how much engagement you can work into the right leg to draw your shins and knees closer in towards your chest. And then if you feel like you want to bind up from there and add on, if you want to bring your left palm to your left knee and press away, you can do all of those things here too if you wish. Remember that this right leg can be straight or bent, your choice there. See how your left hip is reacting this morning. Take another breath in. We'll let that go. And then releasing the right foot to the mat. Release the left foot to the mat. Take the feet about mat width apart. Just take a couple of rocks, big windshield wipers, left and right here a couple times. And then as we come back through center, press into the feet so we can elevate our hips away from the block or book. Move that out of the way. From here, take your legs out long. They're going to be about hip width apart. We're going to activate the back of the legs, the hamstrings here for a moment. Flex the feet up towards the ceiling. The hands are going to be alongside our body, and we're going to bend our knees just a little bit, not quite as deep as we had it just a moment ago. Really press into the heels. Really flex the toes up towards the ceiling as if we were going to lift our booty to slide a block underneath. Let's go ahead and do that. So our knees are softly bent. We're driving into our heels. Feet are flexed. And we're starting to engage the booty muscles and our back muscles to drive our hips up towards the ceiling. We should start to feel the hamstrings turn on here a little bit. Work 3, 2, 1. Relax it down. Give the legs and the feet a shake if we need to. Relax the booty. Let's try that again for 5 breaths. So set up the feet, flex the toes up towards the ceiling, softly bend the knees, palms anywhere it's comfortable for you. Drive into the heels, work the back of the body to lift up. Breathe here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower back down. Give the legs a shake here. We should be more aware of our hamstrings now. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Reach them up towards the ceiling. Just shake them out for a second. Start to rock side to side or up and down. And we're going to rock ourselves all the way up and down or up and over to find our tabletop. So as we start to find our tabletop, we're going to work through just some cat-cows here, some movement in the spine, whatever feels good. So placing your palms down, moving with your breath here. You can roll it out, snake it out. Start to get connection with your palms. If you need to do any sort of wrist movement here, take a few breaths to do that now for the practice. Take one more breath to move here. And then from our tabletop, we're going to start to find more of our neutral tabletop. So we'll press through the palms, engage the belly and the spine, drive away from our palms. We're just going to make some movement with the right hip here for a second. So right knee bent, move in any direction that you want to move first. You can go back and forth in directions. It can be a circle. It can be any sort of shape, but take another moment here into the right side. And then we're going to lower down onto our left forearm. As we lower down onto our left forearm, try not to sink down into that shoulder. So press into your left palm or left fist, into your left elbow, left forearm, and drive your left shoulder and chest away from the mat. Start to open up into a fire hydrant. So right knee is going to lift up and out to the right. Again, if we're collapsing to the left, get really strong in that side, even activate the obliques a little bit and drive your left hip, left rib cage away from the mat a little bit further. Take your right leg as high as you can, wide out to the right. Straighten it as much as you can like we just did on our back. Lower the right foot down towards the floor off to the right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So nice slow movement. 3 more. Lift it up. Lower it down. Got 2 more. Strong left arm. Tap it down. 1 more. Lift it up. Lower it down. Bend the right knee again. We're going to press into the left palm. Come back up onto it. Straighten that right leg out to the right again. Lower it down towards the floor. Press through the outer edge of the right foot here. And then just take a moment. Start to shift your left hip towards the left and drop the right hip down a little bit. Should start to feel a little bit more of a stretch on the right inner thigh. So just do that shift with the hips 1 more time. Right hip up a little bit, right hip down, right hip up, right hip down. And then from here, press into the palms, hug the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to come into a half pigeon. So lowering our right outer shin down to the mat, tuck the left toes under, and walk the left leg back a little bit further. From this space, let's get real active in our half pigeon for a second. So left toes are tucked under. Again, work that left leg back a little bit longer. Drive into your outer right shin and the outer edge of your right foot, and try to almost lift your right butt cheek up away from the mat and drive your right hip back. So we just did that little tick tock of the hips left and right. We're going to do the same thing here. Try to pull the right hip back, left hip forward. Breathe here for 4, 3, 2, should feel it a little bit more intensely underneath the right booty cheek. And then you can relax that effort. Start to walk your hands out. Come down onto your forearms or come all the way down onto your chest and belly for your half pigeon. Gonna take a few breaths here. Breathe for 4, 3, 2, and on 1, start to come back up to your palms, tuck your left toes under, lift that left thigh, left knee away from the mat, squeeze your right knee in, and then lower both knees down to the mat, find your tabletop. I'm going to pivot around just because I've got very little space here so that we can work our left side. So as we come into our tabletop again, we're going to pick up that left leg, just start to make some movements, free form movements, just so we can get to know our left hip. As we have our palms down on the mat, check in, see if you're shifting a lot of weight to the right or if we're buckling through that right arm, and really get strong through that right palm. Drive your right shoulder away from the mat. We're going to want that same engagement as we lower down to our right forearm here. You might need to move the left palm back in space. Again, if we're sinking down, really get strong like a half dolphin. Drive your right shoulder away from the mat. Open up into our fire hydrant with the left leg. Take it up and as high as we can to the left while still really strong through the right side. Lower the inside edge of the left foot down alongside your mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Lower it down. Lift it up. 2 more. Lower it down. Lift it up. Last one. Lower it down. Lift it up. Bend that knee. Come back up to your right palm and then take your left foot off and out to the left. Press through the outer edge of that left foot for a minute. And then we're just going to do that little booty shift. Left butt cheek's going to lift up a little bit more. Right butt cheek's going to come down and in. And then we're going to lower the left butt cheek down so we get a little bit more stretch through that left inner thigh. Couple more times. Take one more breath. And then hugging left knee in towards your chest. We're going to pull it forward for our half pigeon on this side. So we're going to be active at first. Tuck the right toes under. Move the right foot back in space. And instead of sinking so much just down into that left hip, we're going to be more active with the front leg. Drive into the bottom edge or the part that's connected to the mat of your left calf, left shin. Think about engaging your left booty up and back. So this should start to intensify really that stretch of everything wrapping around and pulling through the back side of the left leg. Drive into the knife edge of the left foot. Really active here. You're pulling your left hip back in space and your right hip forward, almost as if you might think about squaring off a little bit more for a pyramid pose. Take one more breath in. And then you can relax that really big effort there if we've had it a little bit as you come down into your half pigeon. You could be on props here out in front of you. You can have your bolster that you're laying on. You can be on your blocks or just down onto your forearms or your chest and chin here. If you've dialed down the effort from what we just did, allow yourself to notice how that feels in the body, to be in a little bit more of a relaxed half pigeon versus being in that more active variation. Breathe here for 3, 2, and then on 1, we're going to walk the palms back, tuck the right toes under, lift that right knee away from the mat, squeeze your left knee, left thigh in, and then take it down into your tabletop again. From tabletop, let's tuck the toes under, walk the hands back to the feet back of the mat. Give yourself a moment here to ragdoll, whether that's bouncing out or swaying out, shifting the hips. You all know your legs can be straight or bent. You could be grabbing opposite elbows here. Let the head hang heavy. Got it for 3, 2, 1. We're going to bring the hands down to the mat and turn the toes out a little bit. Feet can be hip width apart or maybe a little bit wider than hip width apart. We're going to drop the booty. If you watch football, you might see this kind of like on the line here, so almost like we're in a line stance. Take a breath, kind of feel outer hips, inner thighs. And then from here, bring the hands to the knees or thighs. You can spread them open if you have a little bit more space. It feels okay. And then taking the hips up towards the sky, we're going to roll our spine up. As we roll up and stand up, you can reach your arms up if you want to, but just take the hips a little bit forward. Try not to just break in the lower back. We're still extending up and out of the hips and lower back. Feel the booty engage. And then softly bend the knees, roll yourself back down. Straighten the legs, or a little bit straighter. Bend the knees again, start to drop the booty a little bit lower. See how that feels. You might bring the elbows or forearms inside the thighs or knees this time. Make sure the knees feel good. So if it doesn't feel good to press with that pressure out, don't do it. Relaxing the hands down, take the hips up. We're going to roll ourselves all the way up to standing. You can do whatever you want to do with the arms. Elongate through the spine. We're going to hyperextend here through the hips. Again, softly bring ourselves down into our forward fold. Straighten the legs if you want to here for a moment. We're going to drop it a little bit lower. So we're going to start to get lower and lower in our squat. So if it feels okay to take the booty and the tailbone down and the head up more, we'll do that now. You can move around a little bit here, or you can bring, again, elbows, forearms inside your thighs or knees, kind of drive more space. As you do that, turn on your booty muscles even more. So if you find you're pressing out, you're probably going to find they're naturally going to engage a little bit as you press out, but you might even dial that up even more. Take one more breath in. Let it go. Hands touch down, hips up towards the ceiling. Start to uncurl your spine as you feel yourself ready to stand all the way up. Really extend up tall, hyperextend into your back bend as much as you want to. Hips going forward and out, and then start to turn the toes in, pointing more towards neutral. Fold yourself down. When you're ready, you're going to walk yourself out into your down dog. And once you get out into your down dog, you can pedal out the feet here, bend the knees, do whatever feels good. Find any movement that feels good here. Take a couple of rounds of breath. Feeling out the shoulders, hamstrings back. Breathe here for 3. Breathe for 2. And then on 1, you can bring the feet closer in towards one another if you want to. Drive your right leg up and back behind you. Move forward on the ball of the left foot. Elevate the left heel. Hug your right knee in towards your chest. And we're going to step it forward in between the hands, lowering the left knee down into the mat. Inhale, stretch your arms up. You can do whatever you want to do with your arms here. They can be up towards the ceiling alongside your hips, bound in some way. Inhale, lengthen up through the chest. Think about hugging right thigh in and left thigh in towards the midline. And then if we're scooting back away from this, let's see if we can sink down a little bit more into it. Take another breath in. Let that go. Now we are going to move in and out, and we're going to move the pelvis here some. So right now my booty's going back behind me as I sink further down. As I shift back, I'm going to draw the tailbone under, pubic bone towards my chest. I'm going to really dial up. I'm hoping for most of us, it is for me, what I'm feeling on the front of my left hip. Exhale, release down. Booty's going to rock back a little bit. Inhale up, scoop under. Left hip more stacked over left knee. Exhale, take it down. Do whatever you want to do with your arms here. Inhale, pull up and under. Exhale, lower. One more time. Shift back. Pull up and under. And then keep that going. Hands come down to blocks or mat as we move back through a half split. You can flex or point your right toes, move around in that right foot, right ankle. Breathe here 3. You could be moving the spine. You're just exploring your half split, however you want to. 2. On 1, we're going to move our right hand inside our right foot and swing that right leg out wide to the right like we just practiced, but this time we're on both palms. Bring the right foot out to the right again. Press through the outer edge of that right foot. So our right foot is flat on the floor out beside us. And then we're going to slide in and out a little bit. So slide it out to the right. You're going to come more to the inside of your left thigh, left knee. If you've got the space, feel free to come down to your forearms. Inhale, squeeze, pull it back up and in. Exhale, take it out. Inhale, pull back and in. So we're finding more towards those end ranges of our flexibility, but because we're moving in and out of this, we're finding also that point where we can still stay stable and strong to pull ourselves back out. Last one, we'll stay down in it. If you got more room, you might have rocked a little bit more towards the inside of the left thigh, left knee, rather than being more on top of the left kneecap. If you need to, for more comfort of your left knee, hug your left heel in closer to your left butt cheek. Feel free to do that. This should feel like big space being worked into for most of us through the inner thighs, close to the pelvis and groin. If you want to shift a little bit forwards and backwards, you can. And again, you could be doing this up on your palms too. Breathing here for 4, 3, 2. Firm up that right thigh. Start to slide that right foot back in. Come to your palms. Take any movement that we need to through that right hip. Right knee touches down. Tuck your toes under. Start to stretch your hips up and back. Find your down dog. Really press your booty up and back away from you. Find length through the spine here. Elevate up to the tiptoes. Roll your spine forward into your plank. Look out long into your plank. You can lower knees or all the way down if you want to. Chest and chin, or find a chaturanga. When you're ready, find your back bend, whether it's cobra, up dog, or sphinx. Take one more breath in. Really find long extension through the spine. And then take it up and back your way. Find your down dog. Breathe here for 3. Breathe for 2. And then on 1, draw the left leg up and back. Squeeze it tight underneath the body as you elevate higher on the ball of the right foot. Step your left foot forward. Right knee is going to lower down to our mat for our lower lunge. At first, we're going to think about wrapping left inner thigh in towards the midline, right inner thigh in towards the midline, and doing whatever we want to do with the hands here. For this first little bit, we're sneaking forward and down more. If you need to pad your back knee, you can also have your mat folded over a blanket back there. If we're not really lengthening our spine, or we're not thinking about our upper body, let's do that now for a moment. So really lift up long. Maybe the chest goes up and forward a little bit more. One more breath. We're going to start to do and work through that pelvic movement as we shift our lunge. So we're going to take it back a little bit, stack more right hip over right knee. And as much as it feels okay on our right knee, we'll draw the tailbone under, scoop the booty under, while still keeping a little bit longer through the spine. Exhale, take it forward. Take it back. Be mindful of that back knee as we do this. There's a lot of connection points from knee through thigh to pelvis. And if those get too short and they're too tight, then it can start to pull the knee in all sorts of wonky orientations. So be mindful of that. You're going slow through this movement, only going as far as you need to on that right knee. Last one, we'll move back, draw the tailbone under, and then we'll keep going back. Find our half split. Hands come down to blocks or the mat. Explore it however you want to here. 3, 2, We're going to reflect back on that movement we did earlier. So we're going to bring both hands inside the left leg, get real strong in that right arm, and try to lift our left leg up and out to the left as high as we can. And then bring it down to the floor out beside us. I've got hardwood floor, so it's a bit easier for me to slide, but should be able to do it on carpet too. Be on your palms or on your forearms. We're going to slide the left foot out to the left. For some of us, we're going to rock more towards the inside of the right thigh, right knee. Inhale, pull it back up and in. Exhale, out to the left. Pull it back up and in. Again, if that right knee is feeling it, you can always angle the right foot closer towards the pelvis. Right knee out to the right, rather than having that half frog-like shape of right heel being back behind the right knee. One more time up before we settle into it. Left foot's going to go off to the left. Slide it out as much as you need to there. We're going to settle into this one. Breathe for a few breaths. Got it for 4, 3, 2. Start to firm up your left thigh. Really draw your tailbone under. If you need a little bit more support, hug that left leg back in. Come back up to your palms. If we need any movement here for a second, take that. From your tabletop, tuck the toes under, hips up and back. We find our down dog again. Take one more breath in here. Gonna rock forward to our plank. You can roll through your spine, or you can just shift forward. Work your variation of coming down to your mat that you want to. Find the back bend that you want to work here. Lots of activation through the back of the body, lengthening up out through the spine and chest. 2. Exhale, lower down on 1, and then take it up and back your way. Find your down dog. One more breath here. Gonna look forward to the top of the mat. You can step, walk, or float your feet forward to the top. Inhale, half lift. Lengthen out through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Roll yourself up or reverse swan dive up, your choice. We're going to shift the weight into the left foot. Draw the right knee in towards our chest. Coming into our standing figure 4, right ankle on the left thigh above the left knee. We're going to move in and out of this a few times. Feel free to put your hands wherever it feels comfortable. If you've got something around you and you need help with balance, you could put your hands on blocks out in front of you or on the furniture out beside you if you have it. Otherwise, we're working the balance as we move up and down. Think about hugging that left thigh, left knee in towards the midline. You've got it for 3. Hard for me to do this up and down. Try to look at the camera off to the right and keep the balance. 2. So my hands could be down on blocks, the low point. One more time up. One more time down at the bottom, and we're going to hold it there. Breathe 4. You could try any sort of movement through the booty or hips that you want to. So those little minute rotations, internal, external, that we worked earlier, you might feel how those change here. Take one more breath. We're going to stand back up, draw our right knee in towards our chest, and then take it out almost like we're doing a fire hydrant as we dive our hands down to our block or to our mat. We're going to come back into that fire hydrant. Hand on blocks. If we need a little bit more height here is fine. Take the right leg out wide and high to the right. Same thing we did earlier, tap it down or hover it closer to the left foot. Inhale, lift it up to the right. Exhale, lower. Strong, active left arm. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. This time you're going to inhale. Take it high, wide out to the right. Soft bend to the left knee. Sweep it back behind us. Rotate the thigh down. So now we feel it closed off. Tuck the toes under. Step that right foot down. High lunge. Walk your hands around to the right. I'm going to end up facing my back to you. Keep walking to the right. So now we've got our right foot forward, left foot back. We're going to keep spinning to the right. Left palm is going to stay down. Right arm is going to reach up. We're going to come to the knife edges of our feet. A lot of y'all have done these in practices before. Feel that big stretch through the right outer hip we just worked. Inhale, drive up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. 3 more. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. 2 more. The more you straighten or bend that right leg, right knee, you might feel it differently here. 1 more. Exhale, lower. Inhale as you lift. Right hand down, turn back towards the left. Toes are going to turn in here. Heels will turn out. Wide-legged forward fold. Palms can be on the mat. Your forearms can be on the mat. You can bind up your feet. So player's choice for your wide-legged forward fold. Thanks, Joan. You're going to breathe here for 5. 4. 3. 2. Come back up to our palms. If we walked our hands back or came down to our forearms, turn the toes out like we did earlier. Bend the knees, but now we're in a much wider squat than we worked earlier in practice. Bring our forearms or our palms to the thighs or knees. You can open up if you have a little bit more space and move around a little bit here if you want to. Left shoulder is going to roll down. Right shoulder will open up and back. Coming through center, let's swap that out. Each time you come down, if it's okay on the knees, you can press your knees out and away from you. So it's like you're pulling your thighs longer as you also press your knees back. You might have to adjust the angles of your feet as you do that. As you come back through center after this last turn to the left, you're going to bring your hands down to the mat. Take your quarter turn back to your left. Step your left foot back. Find your down dog. From down dog, rock through or roll through to your plank pose. Find your way of lowering that you want to work for today's practice. Find your back bend at the bottom. Gonna lower it back down. Take it all the way up and back. Find our down dog. From down dog, look forward, top of the mat. Step walk, float ourselves up to the top. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Standing up. Gonna shift the weight into that right foot. Draw our left knee up into our chest. Find our balance and then open up into our figure 4-like shape. Exhale, lower. Gonna inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. As we move out of flexion, and extension when we come up to the top. Notice what shifts around your booty and your hips. How does it feel different? When does the intensity turn on, and where does it turn on? Got 2 more to work here. We're really working right knee, right thigh, and towards the midline. You can focus your breath and your drishti. Take 1 more round. This time, as we lower down, we're going to stay low. So feel free to grab any props that you want to here. You can drop the booty as much as you need to or want to. Sometimes I like to drop the knee that's bent a little bit more in that direction. I get a little bit more through the back of my standing leg and my outer hip. And you can also pivot that left butt cheek back a little bit, right hip forward, just depending on where you need to be with it. Breathe here, 3, 2. We're going to stand back up, find our balance, draw left knee in towards our chest, and then bring the left thigh alongside the right thigh. As we dive down, we're going to start to work into that fire hydrant-like shape. Again, it might be useful to have your hands on blocks to be a little bit higher here. Right knee in line with right outer hip. Take the, left leg. Left leg out long and high. We're going to lower it down, come closer to that right foot. Inhale, lift. Strong right arm. Exhale together. Inhale, lift. Exhale together. 2 more. Together. 1 more. Together. This time we'll sweep the left leg back, left thigh rolling down, bend that standing leg, toes tap under. Take your turn to the left. Keep going to the left. Right palm is going to stay down as we face our lunge opposite direction. Left arm can sweep up, come to the knife edges of those feet. Booty is going to lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Got 2 more. Lift it up. Lower it down. This time as we lift up, stay lifted, left hand down, walk it to the right, wide legs. This time we're going to work into our full frog posture. Feel free to grab your blanket if you need a little extra padding underneath your knees. From your wide-legged forward fold, we're going to start to bend the knees, bring them down to our mat or to our blanket, let them open up wide. So that sliding out of our feet that we did one at a time, that same action of the knees, going to slide out to the right and left. Hips in line with the knees. Feet can be in line with the knees, or you can have your heels tucking in a little bit closer towards your booty. If you need to be back with booty towards the heels, that's perfectly fine too. Come down to your forearms if you've got more space. You can have your chest on a block or on a pillow or bolster here if you want that too. And if a little bit of movement here feels good, you can find that range of intensity that you want to live in here. Breathe here for 4. 3, 2, 1. If you went down to your forearms, you're going to come back up to your palms. That same action where we had to kind of firm up our thighs earlier, we're going to do that. Maybe draw the tailbone under a little bit. Take our time. start to scoot our knees in a little bit at a time. And then once we have them in a little bit more, tuck the toes under, take it back into that wide-legged forward fold-like shape, and maybe just move around a little bit here. You can rock it forwards and backwards. You could shimmy the hips here if we need to. You could skandasana it out. You've got it for 3, 2. On 1, we're going to take a quarter turn back to the left. Sweep the left foot back, find our down dog. If we want a vinyasa here, we'll move through it whatever way that we want to. Eventually make your way up and back to your down dog. One more breath in. One more breath out. Look forward, top of the mat. You're going to step, walk, or float yourself forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Standing up, we're going to draw our right knee in towards our chest again. Find the balance on the left foot. And then crisscross right thigh over left thigh for our eagle position. Feel free to wrap that foot if it's comfortable for your knees. Bring yourself into your eagle arms if you wish, or your forearms and palms together. We're going to take the booty back behind us and down low. Squeeze in towards the midline. Try to squish down low into this. You can wrap yourselves on top of your thighs and knees or out in front. Breathe for 4. We're as small as we can, booties low. Squeezing thighs in towards the midline. Breathe for 3. 2. As we unwrap, we're going to reach our arms up, hug our right knee in towards our chest, open up into a half moon. So you might have your blocks out in front of you. You might have your mat out in front of you that you're aiming your left hand down for. As you reach your right leg back, roll your right hip, right thigh open. Right toes can point towards the side. From here, do whatever feels good for the arm. Maybe try to lift that right leg up just a little bit higher. Breathe here. 3, 2. Dive it into your standing split. So hands come down to the mat. We take external rotation to internal, right thigh rolling down. And then take that right leg up a little bit higher. Breathe for 3, 2. On 1, bend your right knee, right heel towards left butt cheek. Reach back with that right or left hand, bind up your right foot and try to drive your right knee, right thigh away from you. Flex your foot, kick into your left hand. Should feel this a little bit more intensely with the hamstring turned on the quad. Breathe 2. On 1, we're going to start to lower that right knee back behind the left ankle. Lower it all the way down, releasing the foot. Sit back down behind your right leg. If you need to move around, situate your seat, do that. Left knee spiking up towards the ceiling. Left hand back behind us. Stretch our right arm up. Wrap it around. Find your twist. Your option to hug onto your left thigh, left knee, or come outside with your tricep. See if we're letting the shoulders droop down and in, if we're kind of slouching down here and we don't have a lot of awareness in the upper body. If that's the case, move the left hand in as close as we need to. Engage the upper body, sit up tall. Take one more breath. As you come back around and face your knees again, we're going to work into our cow face legs. So the left knee, you're gonna pull it across your right knee. Now, if we need to grab a block to sit on, you can do that. If you need to take that right leg out straight, that's an option. You can come in here, kind of sneak your knees in a little bit tighter. If you've got more room, the shins might be a little bit further away from you. Otherwise, heels might be a little bit closer to our outer hips. Again, situate if we need to, if we're shifting too far to the right and left. And then depending on the feedback from our body, we'll work ourselves into as much of a flexion or forward fold as we need to here. Got it. For another few breaths, you can relax the head and the neck or have a block there. Two more rounds of breath. If you went out on your forearms or you walked your palms out further, go ahead, walk them back in. Begin to lift your spine upright. Hug your left thigh, left knee in towards your chest, and we're going to place the left foot down on the mat. Shift forward into our right knee, right shin. Take our blocks with us if we need to. We're going to take a quarter turn, and then another quarter turn to the right. We'll be facing the other direction. Step our right foot back down, dog. Move through any sort of vinyasa here again that you want to. From your down dog, look forward to your hands. Step, walk, or float yourself forward. Exhale, forward fold. And then rolling yourself up. Move the awareness into your right foot. We're going to work the eagle balance on this side. So weight in the right foot. Left knee is going to hug up and towards our chest. Left thigh crisscrosses over right thigh. Do whatever you want to do with your arms here. Make sure we're going the opposite crisscross we did before. We're going to start to extend the booty back and then flex the chest towards the thighs. Keep squeezing the thighs in towards the midline. So in this practice, we've done a lot of external rotation and abduction, pulling our hips away from the midline. Right now, we're really counterbalancing it with this part of the flow. So squeezing thighs in towards the midline. You've got it for 3, 2. Standing back up, hug left knee in towards your chest. You're going to look for that mat or block out in front of you. As you dive down, right hand, left hand can come down to it first to set ourselves. Roll that left thigh open. Instead of the toes looking down, they'll look off and out to the left. You can bring your hand to your hip for awareness and space for half moon, and then do whatever feels good for the arm here. Maybe try to lift the knife edge of that left foot up a little bit higher. You can roll your left hip back in space, right hip under like we played with earlier. 3, 2. Your left hand's going to come down to the mat. We're going to go from big open to closed off. Left thigh rolling down. And then hands come down to the mat, standing split. You can relax your chest here. Relax your head here. Breathe. 3, 2. On 1, we're going to bend our left knee, left heel towards our right butt cheek. Reach back with that right hand. Maybe bind the ankle if you can get it. Flex your left toes towards the floor. Keep that happening as you bind tighter onto the left ankle, but try to kick the left thigh, left knee away from you. You've got it for 2. On 1, we're going to start to relax that grip. Start to lower the left knee back behind the right ankle. Sit yourself down, right knee up towards the ceiling. Find your sits bones more balanced. Going to bring the right hand back behind us, left arm up, and then you're going to find your twist, whatever way, whatever variation you want to do on this side. If you need to move that right hand in closer, you can. Should feel pretty good for a stretch for the outside of the right leg. If you need even more of that, as you ground your right sits bones down, you can scoop that sits bones down into the mat and pull it back behind you a little bit as it stays grounded. 1 more breath in. As you exhale, come back towards the midline. We're going to pull that right knee all the way across our left, or a little bit more over if we need to. If you need to adjust your seat again, you can. When you're ready for your cow face legs, walk your hands forward, and then if you have room to walk them forward and then come down onto your palms or onto your forearms, you can work that shape with your cow face legs. Right leg on top. We'll settle down into this for a couple more breaths. Feel free to let your head and your neck go here. One more breath in and out. On the next breath in, coming back up to the palms if we went down, walk the hands back. Gonna lean back into the sits bones, into the palms. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Free the legs. Take them long down the length of the mat. Give them a good shake. Rotate the feet in and out. Let the skin kind of go. Let the muscles kind of go. So as much as you can relax the legs, do that and have the action come from the feet. So it's as if we're just trying to jiggle that skin around our thighs, around the bones a little bit. And then when we're ready, activate the feet a little bit more. You can flex the toes up or point the toes. Work that pelvis under again. So we're going to start to draw the tailbone under, round the back. Go as slow as you want to go here. You can hold on to your thighs or reach forward. Keep scooping that tailbone under. Lower back is going to touch mid back, upper back. As you lay all the way back and down, you can stretch your arms back alongside your ears. Reach out through your fingertips. Reach out through your toe tips. Let's draw the feet to the mat about hip width apart. We'll take 1 round of bridge pose. Feet comfortable, stable distance apart. Start to elevate the hips away from the floor. You can draw the shoulder blades tighter underneath the body. Going only as high as you need or want to go here. You could be on a block. You can have your hands underneath your hips or off to the sides or bound. One more breath in. Releasing down. Take the feet wide about mat width apart. Let the knees for a moment and the thighs roll in, knock in towards one another, knee knock pose. Keeping the feet wide, knees open back up towards the ceiling. roll them off to the right. You can drive into the inner edge of your left foot. Try to drive your left knee up away from the mat a little bit more and try to push your left hip out and forward. Just get a big, nice lengthening through the front of that left hip. Come back down. Knees are going to reach back up towards the ceiling. Roll towards the left. And instead of just letting the right knee collapse down and in, press through the inner edge of the right foot. Drive that right knee a little bit higher away from the mat and use your booty to extend your right hip forward and get a stretch there. So it's going to be partially the activation of the right booty muscles that are going to help stretch out the front of that right hip. Come back down, draw your knees in towards your chest. Maybe give yourself a squeeze, a little rock side to side with your happy baby. If you need to take the legs up in the air, you can. Give them a good shake. Any sort of movement you need. After you're done with your movement, when you're ready to set yourself up for your Shavasana, this is going to be the point where you might grab your bolsters or pillows, put them underneath your knees or thighs, grab your blankets. If you want underneath your head, or to cover up with. Take a couple minutes here. You're getting settled into your Shavasana. Finding those last and final movements that you need for your practice to release the body down into your rest. Take a big breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Letting yourself settle down heavy and soft into this last shape. You're going to start to bring a little bit more awareness to your body. Maybe take a slightly deeper breath in through the nose, letting it go through the mouth. You might start to bring a little wiggle into your fingers, a little wiggle into your toes. Turn your head a little bit side to side if you need to. And stretch your arms out long, or start to hug yourself in a little bit tighter. When you're ready, you can roll yourself over to your right side or over to your left side. And then from there, use the support of your palms. Start to press your way up, finding a more comfortable seat, stable seat on your mat. As you sit up nice and tall. You can close your eyes or focus your gaze. Bring your hands to your chest, or one hand to belly, one hand to heart. You're feeling your way into your body just as it is today. And all of the information that it bestowed upon you in practice. Take a big breath in. Let it go. Bow to yourself. Receive your practice and all of your teachers that showed up on your mat today. I bow to y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me through this new medium and checking out the practice. I really appreciate it. Please let me know if y'all have any comments or questions or feedback.